Welcome to one of the most thrilling showcases in miniature artistry, the Resin Beast. Held at Adepticon in Milwaukee, this competition brings together some of the most talented painters from around the globe, all vying for a share of the $21,000 prize pool and the honor of standing at the pinnacle of their craft. With categories that range from small models to sprawling dioramas, the Resin Beast isn't just a contest. It's a celebration of imagination, technical mastery, and storytelling through paint and resin. In this video, we're taking you deep into the heart of the event. We'll explore what it takes to impress the judges, take a close look at the show-stopping entries, and hear directly from the artists who brought these visions to life. Whether you're here for inspiration, admiration, or to level up your own painting game, this is the Resin Beast, and it's more epic than ever.
So the Resin Beast, I think when we first came to Adepticon, the only competition in town was the Cool Mini or Not competition. And so we started the Resin Beast, and the next year Cool Mini just went away. And so then we were the only competition, and we were like, hey, this is kind of weird because we were just a creature caster competition. And we were like, there's so many miniature companies here. No one can do anything with their miniatures. Golden Demon wasn't even around then, so it was just the creature caster competition.
Oh, wow.
It was like, what are people gonna do with these beautifully painted miniatures? So, we started reaching out and saying, hey, we don't actually want this to be just a creature caster thing. We want this to be a thing for the entire community. We want to try and grow it and grow the entire hobby scene. The goal was really, how do we get more people painting models?
This year, Resin Beast hosts a veritable plethora of gorgeous models to choose from, thanks to the event sponsors. Entries can now be selected from not only Creature Caster's range, but also those of Bestiarum Games, Loot Studios, the Dragon Trappers Lodge, and Eldritch Foundry. This created an incredibly diverse portfolio of pieces being entered into the competition, not only the classically monstrous Creature Caster models, but a number of more adorable selections.
With Dragon Trappers Lodge becoming a sponsor, we had this opportunity to engage in some stuff that was a lot more sweet and whimsical.
Right.
And the mouse rider on the sparrow, there's a lot of drama in that flying bird. And I had the idea to put it high up on a singular branch so that so that there's all of that space underneath this relatively small model.
Participants entered their masterpieces into 5 distinct categories: large model, mid-size model, small model, diorama, unit or warband, and a new category, bust. Each category presented unique challenges and opportunities for artists to express their creativity and technical prowess. Let's take a deeper look at the judging process, which can also be found on the Resin Beast website. This can give us some insight on what makes a winning piece at the competition. To begin the process, there's a first round of cuts, called the Heart of the Beast. This involves the judges individually choosing up to 11 entries that they feel are the best in the competition. This is a broad sweep to narrow down the selection process, and at this point the judges are allowed to discuss their choices with the others. Tallying up the results, the top 10 make the cut and become the heroes of the dungeon. At this point we move to more fine-grained rankings, called the Beast Slayers, where judges individually score each piece without consulting others, and follow a well-laid-out rubric. There are 4 criteria for each piece, and Resin Beast is pretty strict about the importance of not letting factors from one category bias another. First, we have originality, ambition, and challenge. This looks at the ways in which models go above and beyond, including conversion work, use of larger models, and generally being best described as the answer to the question, did this artist really go for it? The second criteria is theme, narrative, and ability to evoke emotion. This one feels pretty straightforward. Does the piece tell a story? Does it add additional depth or character to a model? Or does it create a feeling or atmosphere? As I mentioned, it's very important that the categories are kept separate, so technical application is largely left out here, and less to discuss the way in which it evokes emotion or tells a tale. Here, we now move to workmanship and consistency. This is where technical construction, clean lines, and the lack of any mold lines or gaps are essential. Another consideration is whether or not the chosen paint style was applied consistently throughout the piece. If you're committing to doing your feathers a particular way, you'd best be confident you can repeat it throughout the entire model. The fourth and final criteria for judging is artistic application. While different criteria have different weights based on the model category, this one is generally weighted the heaviest across the board. Did the artist make interesting use of their color palette? Does the piece have a flow or sense of motion to it? How is the model presented in regard to the rest of the piece? And are there interesting uses of freehand involved? It is by far the most involved category and presents the most opportunities for aspiring winners. After these criteria are inputted, they are tabulated together to determine the winners of each category. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears have gone into each and every piece, and they are stunning. Let's take a look at some of the winners and hear their thoughts on their work.
I picked a diorama piece, and I like some of their STL files because some of them are a little bit, I'd say, more painterly friendly, where they're not quite as busy. So like there's the horse and the two rangers.
Right.
And I learned how to do some snow a couple of years ago, and it just kind of was a nice, almost Lord of the Rings-ish feel. I have a lot of landscaping background because that's what I do for a living.
That's a funny story. I actually was gonna do another piece for this year's Resin Beast, and I had like several hours in it already, and then I saw a 2D piece of artwork from Greta Lusky, and her Instagram handle is Gret Lusky. But she just did a beautiful piece of like an ocean knight with the iridescent armor. I'm like, what would iridescent armor look like on a mini? So I tried my hand on it, made it a little bit more rainbow because I love bright colors, and that was the inspiration for that piece.
All of these pieces were either live streamed or filmed as tutorials. So in this case, it was maximum information for the viewers. I was testing different paints, brand new paints that I'd never used before.
Wow.
I was trying new techniques for freehand, not so much for people like me that do this all the time, but what about someone who's never done freehand? And that was somewhat intricate.
With my diorama, I wanted to try pushing myself to do things I'd never done before. And so one of the things I've been wanting to do for a very long time was a shadow box. So that was kind of the original idea, and I wasn't sure where I was going to go with that until I actually spoke with the folks at Creature Caster. And I demoed Judgment with Simon, and which was amazing, and I really enjoyed it. And he was like, "What's your favorite kind of like, character to play in games and stuff?" I was like, "I love druids," and so he's like, "Oh, we have this great dwarf," and so he brings out this dwarf character with a lantern.
Right.
And the very first thing I thought of was an old Robert Frost poem. I think it's called "Walking Through the Woods on a Snowy Evening" or something like that. And so with the lantern and everything, I was like, that would be so cool to make a snowy scene, and then the idea for the shadow box, and it all just kind of came together at the same time.
Partly it was the name, and partly it was the fact that she was holding a bell and about to ring a gong.
Yeah.
And she's the harbinger of ruin.
Right.
So I was like, oh, I can do something with that.
Yeah.
Do it. I mean, not to steal the whole Nike quote, but just do it. Because the moment you say, we are all our own worst critics, and even your best painters are going to say their model looks horrible. And as you work on your own pieces, you're going to see that, and you're always going to see that. You're never not going to. So just put it in, get the feedback, grow from the feedback, and then come back again and do it again and continue to push yourself.
If you want to get into it, like, pick something you love that you'll be happy spending, all of the time with it, that it'll take to really like do your absolute best.
Find a model that really speaks to you, something that you think you'll have fun with.
It is scary. It is scary to put your work out there and be judged and have to go through that entire process. But when you challenge yourself and you go through that, it becomes easier and you get better and you grow as a painter and I think as a person. So, I think it's really important to take those challenges, do some of the things that make you uncomfortable, and I think that's part of a really rewarding experience.
And there we have it. If you're interested in getting involved, just go for it. The Resin Beast continues to inspire and foster creativity in the painting community. And I want to give a big shout out to the event sponsors, as well as the title and media sponsors, including yours truly. Creating spaces like the Resin Beast where people can celebrate and help each other in their creative works is more important than ever. So thank you to everyone who submitted their artwork. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite piece was and what you're painting right now. That's gonna do it for me. I'll catch y'all next time on Tabletop.